Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unveiling Trio 10 Experience webinar. We are thrilled to have you with us as we explore groundbreaking advancements designed to enhance customer experiences. Before we begin, I would like to introduce our esteemed panelists. First, we have Gary Bennett, the Vice President of Sales for EMEA. Gary has been instrumental in driving growth and innovation within our sales strategies across Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. Next, please welcome Henrik Silwer, our solution engineer. Henrik brings a wealth of technical expertise and has been pivotal in developing solutions that meet complex customer needs. And last but not least, we have Rupert Adair, the Vice President of Product Management. Rupert's vision and leadership have been key in shaping our product offerings to better serve our customers and stay ahead in the market. We are privileged to have such a knowledgeable panel here today to share their insights with us. Without further ado, I will hand over to Gary Bennett to kickstart the presentation. Gary, the floor is yours.
Excellent. Thank you, Camilo. Thank you for that very kind and generous introduction. Thank you and welcome to everybody who's joined us today on the webinar. I know it's difficult sometimes to get away from the day-to-day and take time to come to events like this, so we do appreciate it. I'm only going to spend a few minutes just putting some general context around today, and then I'm going to let my colleagues talk about Trio and Trio 10, which is really why you're here. But I did just want to put some, as I say, some context around Enghouse, because I think there are times when it's not probably understood that we are a pretty significant company. And I think that's important, particularly for those organisations and partners who want to continue to make an investment with Enghouse to understand that that investment is safe. We're now operating in, well over 100 countries with nearly 2,000 plus employees, a significant market cap, and a number of different divisions which are supporting our business around the world. Today we're going to be talking about Enghouse Interactive products. Interactive is very much about how we help organizations and customers improve the experience into their contact center. But we do have, four other pillars to the business. Enghouse Video, which, the heart of that being our video acquisition in 2021. And that has been further enhanced last year with the purchase of the assets of the Lifesize business. Video is particularly strong for us in a number of verticals like education and health, and we've seen success in the Nordic market. Our networks division continues to support large organizations in terms of monitoring and managing their infrastructure. And our transport and public safety division, again, has been successful, not just globally, but also particularly in the Nordic markets, and in particular in Norway, with the contracts we've won with the health and the public safety, the fire service. And then finally, we've got our specialised group, which are dealing with mobile device management and market survey technology. So quite a breadth to Enghouse. And as I say, I think sometimes people don't fully appreciate that. What that does allow us to do is it does allow us to have deep domain expertise in lots of different areas, and areas where we can often sort of cross-fertilise and leverage one another. So against that backdrop, if I could have the next slide, please. We're going to talk this morning about Attendant Console, but for Enghouse, our philosophy is very much being able to offer quite a broad sweep of solutions. There are a lot of people in the market, that compete with us. A lot of people with what I call single shot solutions. So they offer one particular area of CX, but not others. We believe it's important, whether that's dealing with front of house calls with the Attendant Console, so that calls can be routed efficiently and effectively, or whether that's the contact center, which is often seen as the heart of the CX solution, but also some of the sort of peripheral areas to that, like self-service, um, unified communications, uh, and things like analytics and insights, which are very much driving what we're seeing in terms of the AI experience we are delivering today. And Rupert will talk a little bit more about what we call practical AI, in the sense that we've now got elements of AI built into Trio and some of their other products which can be leveraged today. But for us, it's that ability to take not just the attendant console, but to make that part of a complete CX solution, which can enhance the experience for the customers of our customers, as it were. Next, Henrik. And as I say, our philosophy is very much based on enabling all employees to be part of that CX experience. So whether that's somebody at the front of house, as I say, routing that call in the first instance, whether that's somebody in the contact center being well equipped to provide, a fast, accurate first time response, or whether it's also other experts within the organization who can potentially be pulled in to help with a customer interaction. And when we look at how we now integrate with Microsoft Teams and other unified communication solutions, it really does allow us to create a CX experience across a whole organization. And with Trio, that's not just from an attendant console point of view, but with its contact center capabilities as well, it really can play quite a large part of that experience. We're very, very focused on ensuring we can deliver an omni-channel experience. That is increasingly important now. While there are still some people like me who prefer to pick up the phone and interact using voice, quite naturally, there are a number of other media which people like, or in some cases prefer to use. Um, and we're also trying to innovate on that as well. And perhaps a really good example of that is, whilst, for example, web chat is pretty common in contact centers these days, we've seen ourselves with companies like Hitachi start to innovate with real-time translation in that web chat. So as an example, we're now able to offer Hitachi's customers the ability to web chat into their contact center in up to about 20 different languages, and have that translation between the customer or the end user and the agent happen in real time. So real innovation happening as part of that omni-channel experience. And as I touched on, we really are now in all of our solutions, including Trio, trying to leverage Enghouse AI to deliver real-time agent productivity. And when I was asked the other day, how would I try and encapsulate AI? What does it really mean? The phrase I came up with was personalization at scale. Everybody likes to think they're important. When they're interacting with a contact center, they want to believe that, they're deeply understood, that their needs can be met because of that deep understanding. And I think what the analytics and insight and what our AI is able to do is offer a very high degree of personalization, which can dramatically improve the interaction and the experience in the contact center. And of course, if we can use the different technologies, the omni-channel, the unified communications, to handle increased volumes while delivering that personalization, we can often do that without increasing the cost footprint of the contact center as well. And that naturally is particularly attractive to organizations in the current economic climate, where people are trying to improve that CX experience, but be very mindful about what the cost envelope looks like. So hopefully, just a few minutes there to set a little bit of context around today, around Enghouse, and around some of the things you're about to see. So with that, I'd like to hand over to Henrik, who will pick up from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Uh, I will continue with, come on slide. There we go. So before presenting the functions in Trio 10, I will do a short recap of recent developments just to put the scene so we know everyone knows where we are. And I'll just go through a few of the recent developments in current and earlier versions. And I'm starting with Microsoft Teams. As you know, Microsoft Teams integration was a theme of the version 9. And it's applicable for organizations that are using Teams, and it can be deployed in different ways. One of the most common is, of course, the presence integration, showing users' presence in all the Trio clients, which is a very useful tool, especially for switchboard operators, but also for agents when connecting calls further into the organization and so on, so you can know the status of the users. On the top of that, we have the Teams apps, making the Trio web clients accessible as apps in Teams, meaning that you get, for the user part, an updated directory with not only Teams presence, but also with mobile line state and referrals and information like that. And also a very strong search tool to search not only for names and organizations, but search words and responsibilities and other things that are stored within the corporate directory in Trio. And the third part is, of course, the call control. And we can deliver Trio together with Teams as a native team, so to speak, meaning that you use Operator Connect or Microsoft calling plans and using Trio as the contact center for handling calls there using the Graph API. But it can also be delivered as a hybrid with other telephony service together with Microsoft Teams as a call handling application using SPCs or with SIP integrations. And with every Trio version, we have also continued to improve the web agent. Recent developments are things like the built-in soft phone, the listening to calls, support for mobile devices, meaning that the client is adaptable for different sizes of screens, so you can use it on your mobile phone or your tab or whatever device you want to use. The Trio user part has also have recent developments using the Trio guest web, meaning that you have a client which don't require any log on, which can be available on the intranet or perhaps even on the organization's website if you want to give access to the directory. The guest web has, of course, filters that you can extract information that you don't want to be available without logging on to the system. And it's also you can custom it to have the look and feel for the organization, organization branding, so you can have the colors and the logos and stuff like that. And then there is the Trio Web Admin, which allows for management of users, adding and changing users, or as well as agents, which is a useful tool, especially if you're working as a contact center agent and you need to update information within the directory. There has also, of course, been a continued focus on security, which is very important. We have the secure access, meaning that you can run the tree as a service and you have access both, of course, for the web agents or the web clients using HTTPS, of course, but also for running clients without any VPN, just using the secure access for encrypted communication and secure access. We got the single sign-on features allowing for using different IDPs, and you can use multiple IDPs for one Trio system, which is very useful for instance when using municipality clusters and you have different sources for single sign-on. And of course, there are secure SIP and secure SMTP for sending both calls and mails over the internet when delivering when the Trio system is in another network and you're delivering calls over internet and so on. And then very important features as well are all the connectivity with the Trio platform. We have different out-of-the-box integrations, such as for Microsoft Dynamics, for Calabria workforce management, and also for chatbots such as Boost.ai, or as I mentioned earlier, different IDPs for identity single sign-on features, which allows the Trio system to be a part of a much broader system. There is, of course, other system that we want to integrate with where we don't have standard integration, but we have a professional service team which can do all kind of integration. They have done integration to survey platform, identity functions such as bank IDs, all kind of different CRM systems, and so on. So that is also a big part of the Trio platform, to be able to integrate with other systems. And on top of that, regarding connectivity, we have our APIs, which allows other systems to interact with the Trio system, for instance, for the corporate directory, as well as for the contact center, where you can see live data about the contact center, the services, the agents, and the cases. And last but not least, Task API, which allows to integrate other systems to integrate to the Trio contact center queues, meaning that, for instance, a CRM system which gets some kind of action from my pages or something like that could enter a task into Trio, and the Trio system will hunt for an available agent with the right skills to handle that specific task, which allows the agents to be able to handle both contact center features as well as other features, other functions within the company, without being called on the same time by different systems. And we also got the visit log integration. We have done a partnership with Riv Software for a new visit system. It's got, of course, a receptionist client as well as a kiosk for visitors, and it integrates with different systems such as guestnet access, so you can have your guestnet access code on the visit badge, as well as parking services, and you can also use it for personal visits to the contact center. So if the contact center is if the receptionist is part of the contact center and taking calls and other interactions, personal visits can be just another channel into the contact center. So you get your ticket and you wait for your number, and when the agent is available behind the desk and with her call, you will be called up as the next interaction for that specific agent. So that was what we've done earlier versions. Just a brief overview. So 3.10 then, what is new here? What have we done? We have divided this into different themes. We will talk about deliver better customer experience, and we will look into that using a new email response management system. We'll talk a bit about optimizing the agent workflow, as well as agent and customer insights and analytics. So, the new Trio email response management system. This is the first of the features we cover today that involve the use of AI. In this case, it's not the type you'll find on the internet, but it's using one of the building blocks to compromise it. It's natural language processing. So using the natural language processing, email is presented to an agent with a suggested response to allow the agent to choose from suggested answers from the knowledge database. And you'll see in the picture you have some orange icons on the different responses, and that will show relevance for that specific response. And this capability is known to reduce email handling times by as much as half. And more importantly, it can reduce the time for first contact resolution significantly more. And as well as that, it will also deliver consistent responses for the incoming emails without any bias from different agents and so on, of course. In the Trio agent part, then, what's new there? Well, the web agent has, of course, have had some set of new features in the Trio 10 as well. One of the features is the possibility to handle referral, meaning that you can set referral on other people from the web agent, and you can do it for specific persons, and you can also do it for groups, meaning that you can set a group referral for the entire sales department. Of course, they're going into conference or something like that. And there is also a feature for handling SMS within the web agent as well. And this one is quite useful. You can send SMS, of course, to any number with a dialogue, but you can also add SMS to an existing call, meaning that when you as an agent are talking to a customer, you can send links to relevant websites or whatever information that is useful to handle that specific errand. That feature is also available within the call log, the case log, meaning that if you as an agent get information in a later stage that, oh, didn't you know that we have this and that information regarding that kind of call you just had, you can go back in your case log and send SMS to add information to that specific case. And we also use the SMS feature for callbacks. So when you have tried to answer a callback, if the customer didn't pick up, you can get the dialog box for sending an SMS stating that we tried to reach you, but you weren't present. Please call us back if needed, or something like that. And then there is also new analytics and agent empowerment tools. Available together with Trio 10 is a set of new capabilities, some of which are based on existing system, but have benefited from recent AI developments. And we will briefly explore two of these here. At the heart of all of these capabilities is the new transcription service from Enghouse. And this one is available with the QMS platform. So Trio has earlier been integrated with the QMS platform. They are both Enghouse products. And this will, the QMS platform will, with this transcription service, add functionality that is the AI then can use. So the transcription service supports more than 50 languages and provides a cost-effective foundation for many of other AI features that we will be discussing here today. The new service is now more cost-effective than ever before, which is a game changer for our customer, enabling them to add AI to every call, from summarization of automated agent to automated agent evaluation. Accurate transcription is the key to unlocking such advanced features. And Rupert will now go on and explain a little bit more about these features.
Thank you for that, Henrik. I appreciate the detail. Obviously, we don't have a lot of time on this session, and we're trying to cover quite a lot of different topics. And so, naturally, we've tried to touch upon each of the new capabilities, but perhaps haven't gone into all of the detail that you might have liked. And so, naturally, please do reach out to any of your contacts within the team, and we can arrange a demo on the new software, and you can dig into the detail of the workflows of those new features that you've seen, including the ones that we're about to talk about in a little bit more detail. So just touching on the items that Henrik just started upon with this slide. So each of the capabilities on the four boxes there that you can see are based on that transcription capability that is offered by the latest version of QMS on the latest version of Trio 10. It provides the enabler, if you like, or the kind of the core content from which a lot of these very powerful capabilities work. So just very quickly, I'm going to dip into a couple of these on the following slides, but just at a high level, the speech analytics part is a detailed report that is created by the system automatically just after the call is completed, within a few minutes. It shows the conversation timeline and indicators visually for highlights and lowlights, such as areas of concern for tone and flagging these areas that might be requiring attention. So, for example, if the customer gets upset or the agent is showing impatience, then that kind of thing can be highlighted and be addressed from a training perspective, and ultimately can be used to help that agent improve and do a better job of providing customer experience. The agent assist part, which we will dip into, effectively is an AI-powered summarization tool. There's some significant benefits as a result of that, which we'll look at in a moment. And then the agent insights part is something that some of you may be familiar with, because the system works on the scorecard system that you might have seen within the older version of QMS, which is powerful in itself. But what we've done is put steroids into that, if you like, and added some new capabilities using our AI capabilities. So we'll look at that also. And then the final part, which is the customer insights area, is sophisticated, extremely powerful, in my opinion, quite exciting, and is a conversational analytics solution, effectively. It delivers a really deep understanding into the customer's experience during their interaction with that agent. So the power of AI, as many of you will have realized, is in processing large amounts of data and providing some kind of intelligent, in quotes, output from that. And so using the customer insights model, you can avoid having to do manual classification of potentially thousands or more of individual customer comments in web chat and transcribed voice calls. And then the system uses something called natural language understanding, or NLU, to analyze all of that data, including the themes, the emotions, and the content, the topic content, to provide insights that allow you as an organization, whether you're a commercial organization, whether you're a municipality, in all cases, the people that call you are your customers in one way or another. And this allows you to be more attentive, more attuned, if you like, to those customers' needs when they're dealing with you. So let's dip into a couple of the items there. Firstly, the agent assist part. The screenshot, probably without really looking too carefully, gives you a very convenient summary of what it does. Lots of data on the left, and then a convenient, intelligent summary on the right, based on a tuned model that effectively is reading all of that content and making a smart summary of it. And of course, the benefit of this is that this is a very significant time-saving feature. So, rather than contact center agents having to recap on everything that they've been through during the call, effectively using their wrap-up time to try to summarize it in a smart way, but also in a very efficient way. What we're doing here is automating that, and you will probably have figured out that the benefits of that are not only time-saving the wrap-up, but also the call handling time, the call answer time, the number of calls that can be answered. And of course, with that intelligent summary, any follow-up calls can be more efficiently handled. That's where the call handling time is made to be much more efficient, because the agent then has a very convenient summary of the last interaction. You can say, yes, great to see you, Joe. I remember we were talking about this. What can I do for you today? So really powerful, really compelling, measurable, practical use of AI here to save time in the contact center. And from a customer perspective, they get a great service. They talk to an agent who knows what they talked about last time without having to dig into the records. Let me get your records and find out what happened last time. So none of that awkward beginning of each call. So I think that's a pretty exciting capability. And meaningful, as I say, practical in terms of time saving and cost saving. And then following quite nicely on is this AI capability using a large language model, something you may have read about in the press, in the news. And this is another automated feature, which is an agent evaluation feature. So as I mentioned earlier, the scorecard capability within QMS that you may have seen in older versions has been uplifted and is effectively using the transcription that we have from the voice call, or of course it could use text transcription, text content in its raw form. And then what it's doing is automating a summary, an assessment, if you like, based on a scorecard that you've designed for your call center workflow. So normally this task is carried out manually by some poor soul in the contact center who has to trawl through a subset of the calls that have been processed, because normally it's not practical to process 100% of them. It's simply not feasible given the time that's needed, particularly if the assessment is very detailed. And so this system can assess up to 100% if you really want it to. Not sure that's always necessary, but it can do it against a set of strictly defined measures that you are defining. So it's benefited recently in a significant upgrade thanks to generative AI. Of course, this is all in the news in the last 2 years, but Enghouse has been developing some of this capability for some years. In fact, we've had some AI developments for 7 or 8 years, but the generative AI really has put a booster on what's possible and the quality of the output. So using our own AI technology, we're really working on improving this, and with each iterative update in AI, that gets delivered via these products, these solutions. I think the one thing I would say is, but based on our experience, you can't use subjective questions. So you can't ask, was the agent nice to the caller? That's not going to give you a measurable response. As you can see, some of the questions here are quite closed. They're quite prescriptive. So they're yes, no, not applicable type answers. And of course, that allows for more accurate measurement So designing the scorecard is what this is all about, to get you the decent results. So just circling back before we dip into AI a little bit longer, to the Trio 10 part, I just want to emphasize a couple of the themes that Henrik picked up on. The agent web part, the web client part of the solution is really important to us. We're proud of what we've got with the Trio integration. The agent in its web form runs really great inside the Microsoft Teams environment, runs as an app. It's very compatible with the Teams environment, although that's not what everybody is wanting to do. Clearly, with the soft phone, you're running it in a browser as well. But there are some immediate things that we're looking at that are listed on the slide there. So three-party conference calls, for example, and the ability for the agent or the operator to deliver calls to an automated system within Trio, and have those calls come back with any information that it might have picked up. So if the IVR is collecting information, that's delivered back with the call record back to that agent for further process and analysis. And there are also some other features, including alerting, configurable alerting, that are being added. So this is a really important theme, and so you'll see a continued focus on that with each iterative development with Trio on version 10. And then you'll also see further developments on Agent Assist. So some of the things that we just talked about will be further advanced, in particular the email management part, which we're looking to further develop because we've seen significant interest in that from all of you in the region. So we want to be able to develop that with AI, but also with the power of a more powerful knowledge base at the back end of it, which is the key to high quality proposed agent responses. As usual with a product like this, there are a whole tranche of perhaps not very exciting but very important features, such as the security, such as architectural improvements like scheduled failover of the servers. So we haven't listed them in this slide, and again I'd encourage you to have a demo so you can dig into some of that detail further. And then finally, just from a connectivity perspective, back to Henrik's slide on Trio as a connected solution, we're looking at a couple of interesting areas. One of the telephony integrations is one with Destiny. And that's something we're talking to them about, something we have today, but we're looking to uplift with the evolution of their platform as they progress. And then finally, we're looking at adding some social media integration to the existing set that we have. I believe we have Facebook and X or Twitter, and we'll be adding the Instagram capability to that soon too. So again, I won't say any more, but do contact our team for a demo and dig into some of the detail, because of course the scope for detail here is limited given the time we have. So very quickly, and again, this webinar is not the place to go into AI in any great detail, but I do want to kind of whet your appetite, if you like, on some of the great things that Enghouse is doing. In the world of customer experience, artificial intelligence isn't just the latest trends, it is really a transformative force, particularly in the area of customer experience. And there is a lot of hype around AI. It's difficult to avoid the OpenAI, the Microsoft, the Google conversations and the items in the news. But Enghouse is taking a more practical approach. We're not just deploying AI for the buzzword's sake. All of our capabilities are being leveraged for real practical business reasons. So we're trying to make them affordable, secure, to make sure your data is handled in closed models, and allow you to drive kind of measurable outcomes, such as the ones we've just talked about, improving agents' efficiency, reducing the time they spend doing onerous tasks. And our vision extends beyond the contact center front lines. In fact, the contact center itself, the calls and the agents and all of that stuff is, I guess, easy to measure. But what's really interesting is that the data that you hold on your customers is somewhat of a treasure trove of what we would call actionable insights. And used properly with AI to process that, as in the way that we've just touched upon, a lot of that information can allow you to learn and provide a much better customer experience once you understand a bit more about what the customer was really saying in that web chat or all those calls. So we're focused on two areas. One is the agent performance, which is allowing the agent to provide a better service. Again, we touched on it a little bit earlier. And ultimately, if you're running a lot of agents within a contact center as a business, they're a valuable but also an expensive resource, and so it's important to get the most out of them. This really does have a measurable effect in a positive way. And then from an insights perspective, as it says really there, the deep dive on that treasure trove of information is fundamentally important, and until now hasn't really been accessible. But this power of AI is allowing us to do some really quite exciting things. So we launched our first agent evaluation solution almost 2 years ago. Some of this is not new, but as I mentioned earlier, the generative AI, the power that's happening with all of the big names, OpenAI and so on, is really making this come along in leaps and bounds. So, we are introducing a set of features and capabilities, some of which are available now, some of which we've touched upon, and some of which will be available in the near future. So let's take a very quick look. So these are the items of AI-powered or natural language processing-powered capabilities we can offer today. As I mentioned, the transcription engine, which is newly empowered with the latest version of QMS, gives us the foundation, if you like, to do much of this type of assessment and analysis from a voice call. Gary made a comment earlier about being a bit old-fashioned, wanting to pick up the phone. Well, that's a very real thing. Human beings will always want to speak to each other, however much they want to use SMS, social media, whatever other kind of communication that we find. Voice will always be important, and so this makes accessible those voice recordings to allow us to take the text and then process it in the way that we've talked about. From there, we can provide this agent evaluation capability, the customer service and quality and agent development capabilities that allow you to improve the way you behave for your customers and the service you offer. The voice of the customer insights, which we've touched upon, but we can provide some more information with another webinar. I'll touch upon that a bit later. This is a big area. It's a fascinating area, and I'd encourage you to sign up to some of the material we'll talk about a little bit later. It really is fascinating what you can learn. Summarization, we saw a little bit about how the call handling time can be reduced per call. This is, in some respects, early in its development. What we can do now is amazing, I think, but it's only going to improve, and the insights will become even more useful. And Enghouse is excited about what it can provide in the coming few months to improve this area. And then virtual agents, which is our way of describing anything that perhaps isn't a human, but we don't like to use the phrase bot because I think that's overused. It's got a poor perception potentially. Virtual agents can become empowered, and using AI can behave in a far more acceptable way from a human perspective. And so virtual agents is our way of reframing that non-human agent. And of course, there's also the potential to combine a human agent with a non-human agent and augment the two, so have them work together to provide a better service. So that's what's available today. And again, do contact us. We're trying to dip into this at a high level, but it's a fascinating topic, which we've got some real thought leadership within our business who can explain more with some great material to help you understand it. And then a couple of things that are coming. So these are areas that we're being a bit more cautious about because we want to get them right. Gary mentioned, I think, automatic translation at the beginning of the call. There's some great examples of real-world deployment of live translation from one language to another. We want to make sure we get this right from a standard product offering before we make it available as a portfolio product. but the ability to do this clearly, needs to be right. You can't make any mistakes doing this, because you could potentially make mistakes in a transaction for a customer, and you certainly don't want to misunderstand within a customer agent interaction. And then from another kind of a real-time perspective, we would like to be able to provide that coaching, that evaluation capability live. So, to have the system prompting an agent if they perhaps get into hot water trying to explain something to an angry client, or to offer better phrasing of something if they have, again, if they're struggling to communicate something to that customer. So, some really exciting areas, but we're focusing hard on getting those right and making sure they're solid before we offer them as standard offerings. So some of you might be thinking, well, yeah, Enghouse, good stuff, but you're not the only person talking about AI. Everybody's talking about it. Well, actually, we've been working with AI for 7 years. Actually, I had a conversation with one of the team, and I said, well, actually, if you explain what you've just said, it's more like 9 years with some of the capabilities we've been working on with language processing. And so, the generative AI piece, which has matured in the last 2 years, has really, as I say, put steroids onto that. But actually, we've got some very firm skills in-house. And, I think the way I put this is that a lot of what we're talking about here is not some shiny Me Too solution, although we do think it's pretty cool, actually. But we know that we have to make this meaningful. So we are on an AI journey. This is credible, meaningful product. And, we're working to deliver productized, easy to understand, but practical AI solutions that actually mean something to your business. Now, it's a big area. It can be quite difficult to know where to start from a business perspective. And if you're considering getting into this area from an organization perspective, we have got some great expertise. There are 2 links at the end of this session, which I'll share during the Q&A. One for a webinar that we've already delivered, which you can watch again. And one for later this afternoon, which is due, I think it's 4 p.m. Central European time. So wrapping up, Trio 10, some exciting new capabilities. Work on the web agent to improve that overall experience, from not just from a team's perspective, but from a workflow, messaging, email management perspective. Powerful new email handling using natural language processing, improve security, platform improvements and bug fixes. And with that version of Trio 10 is the latest version of QMS, which gives you that transcription, which is the gateway into a whole host of AI-powered summarization and analysis tools from Enghouse. That's the Trio message. It's available today. Come and talk to us. We'd be really excited to explain more about the Trio and the AI capabilities. And with that, I'd like to open the floor up to questions. Just opening up the questions here.
There are 2 questions.
I think the first one,
regarding
those 2 are probably for you, Henrik. So go ahead.
Yeah, the first question is, can you utilize Teams phone system as the PBX, or do you use the native dialer in Teams for phone, or do you use Microsoft ACIS or a third-party SBC? Well, as I said earlier, we can do both ways. We can deliver Trio together with Microsoft Teams phone systems, and we can deliver hybrid solutions using an SBC to enter calls into Teams that way. And it's a follow-up question. Also, can you use hardware phones? Yes, the agents can use Microsoft Teams as their answering device as well as other phones. So they don't have to use a phone within the Microsoft Teams systems. They can use a cellular phone or any phone, to be honest. And
Thanks, Henrik. There's a QMS question there, so let me read that one out. What version of QMS would you need to upgrade to get the new AI functions? So that would be version 10 of QMS, which is available now and alongside Trio 10.
Yep.
I have another question popped up here that is regarding the AI part. Somebody wanting to know more, do have a look at these other webinars, because a lot of these questions will be covered nicely in Steve Natras's session. And the question is, who are you actually using for your AI engines? Yeah, it's a good question. So Enghouse is trying to be very modular and carefully architected in the way that we deliver our solutions. So we're working with several tier one AI providers, including Google, OpenAI, Microsoft. I think there's another one as well. So we're using a combination. We are learning what we can from each and the relationships we have with them. I mean, for example, we're a Microsoft partner, are allowing us to do some pretty cool stuff as we learn. So these solutions will improve over time, but it's not just one; it's several. Hope that helps.
Yes. We've got another Teams-related question here. Are extend and connect Teams integration models dependent on running web agent, or can you also use the client agent, the PC program? Yes, you can use, when using Connect and an SPC, you can use any client, any agent client, both the PC client as well as the Trio web client. But when using extended integration using the Graph API, you have to use the Trio web agent as client.
Thanks, Henrik. Do we have anything else?
No, I think those were the questions at the time being, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, there's still time for some more questions, but let me just put these two slides up for people's interest. So this is the webinar that we already delivered a few weeks ago. It's quite recent, and this is by one of our colleagues, Steve Natras, and his team, which does go into more detail about what we've just been talking about. You see again the use of the word practical AI there. We really do care about this being, meaningful and not just some gimmick. It has to be meaningful, and that's the focus. So you can watch that webinar on demand. You need to register to be able to hit the watch on demand button you can see there, but you can go ahead and do that. And then the second part, which is a webinar that's happening today, which is more of a broad contact center plus AI session. Let me just give you some time to screenshot that. We should try and post that into the chat, actually, that URL. And the recording of this will be available later, so you can grab that URL as you need it. And this is the webinar that's happening this afternoon. Again, you'll need to register. This is a slightly different topic area, but it is talking about preparing for AI. So evaluating your current contact center solution and preparing for the era of AI. So there's an independent research guy on that, which will make that it'll have a different angle to it, which I think will be quite interesting. Recommend you join that. Again, take a look at the URL, and we can take that from the recording, and we can paste that into the chat as well. So with that, I think unless there are any more questions, let me just check. Right. Okay. So. Henrik, does Trio support integration with 2 different Active Directory domains?
Yeah, we can have multiple sources for integrating user data from different AD domains with Trio. Talk to your reseller about that, but it can be configured.
Okay, great stuff. Yeah, we can talk to you about that. Give us a call or talk to your partner, as Henrik says. Anyone else? Last call. We've got 5 minutes, in fact, so there is time. Okay. Well, I think then, if you do have any more questions, I think the thing to do probably is to talk to your contacts at Trio or to your partner or Director Henrik. I'm sure he'd be very happy to hear from you. So I'd like to thank you on behalf of the team, from Gary, from Henrik, also Camilla, who introduced you at the beginning, for your time today. We appreciate that it's valuable. And thank you for the feedback, guys. I hope it was useful. We look forward to hearing from you and talking to you again very soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.